Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this Smackdown opinions video. We've got quite a bit to get through. Obviously this week was dominated by Roman coming back, and for me personally, I thought that Roman segment was pretty good. No talking, no nonsense, just really kicking ass. And as I said, I thought it was quite exciting after what had been a pretty average Smackdown in my opinion. And actually, that does show in the match scores. The community scored A-Town Down Under against Street Profits as good 96%. Jade against Alba, good 91%. I do think Santos Andrade deserved better than good 94%. To be honest, it was really close between good and great. It was just that good edged it. So it ends up getting good 94%, which, as I said, is a real shame. It's a real shame because I do think that deserved a little bit more love. And then you've got DIY against Pretty Deadly, that getting good 93%. So technically every match picking up a good rating, which, you know, that's how it's been for quite a while now. SmackDown has been underwhelming compared to Raw, and it feels like Roman's return hasn't drastically changed that, or at least in my opinion. I mean, we'll have a look and see what people think. I'm expecting a mixed bag. I haven't read these, but I'm expecting a mixed bag because I think that Roman coming back was very exciting. That ending was very exciting. I could imagine people leaving SmackDown being quite, you know, enthused. But equally, I think the show that we got before it was pretty much in line with the shows we've been getting. So equally, I could imagine people saying that the Roman segment didn't quite save the show. You know, it didn't get it close to like Raw levels, which Raw has been fantastic over the past like month or two. So yeah, score-wise, I'm not too sure yet. We'll have a look, see what people are saying, and then I'll give my thoughts at the end. So here's Howdy Styles, who says, it was the same old usual SmackDown. It just had the added anticipation of Roman's return, in my opinion. Owen said it was good, but all I care about is that I'm going next week for an early birthday present. Well, have a great time, Owen. I hope you have fun. Pete said it was average, this SmackDown. It's going to start getting better when we get nearer to Survivor Series. Alba said Cody and KO, the problem of predictability, sorry. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't expect Kevin to win that. So Cody, KO. I do think, though, it should be a banging match. And seeing Kevin compete for a title clean, you know, not having outside interference, pretty excited for that. Even though, as you said, the problem of predictability is never going away. Jade beating a champ in 2 minutes. No comments. Don't mind it too much because she's a tag champ, not a singles champ. So, and Jade is clearly someone special. So, yeah, I get where you're coming from with that, but I think because she's a tag champ, I can tolerate it a bit better. A-Town Down Under beat former champs on Raw. Why should they compete again? Good question. Santos wins. Why would they break a 7-win streak? Great match, but 4 distractions for one guy. DIY feels stale, says Alpatata. No Nia. Yeah, the Nia thing really confused me because I didn't really think about it until it was mentioned by, I think it was Word of Wrestling. Like, where was Nia? And then I was like, oh yeah, Tiffany was backstage planning that thing. But so I put it in unseen, and since then people have told me that apparently the celebration is next week. So that's why we didn't get Nia. So I don't know. People are telling me that that's going to be next week. Still a bit weird her not being around though. I didn't care about Roman. Nothing different from SummerSlam. I wanted Solo to Samoan spike him 12 times and hit his Samoan dance. Rating 5 out of 10. Would have been a 6 if Roman's segment was good. Rating 3 out of 10. I don't know what the 2 ratings are. But either a 5 or a 3. Alpatata, not really blown away there. Nishi said it was an excellent show. Oh, looks like Nishi was, though. Because of some great in-ring work And because of the final Roman Reigns segment, Andrade, Santos, Montez, DIY, they can lift up any show with their incredibly fluid in-ring excellence. 10 out of 10, Nishi saying that this show just could not have been made any better. Brendan says Kayla Braxton explains why reason behind WWE departure. I did see that. She said that she's done everything she thought she could do. So I don't think she fell out of love with it or anything. I think she just sort of maxed out what she felt she could do there. Dean Parker said, I love SmackDown. Didn't think we would get face versus face next for tag titles. Well, I think I'm right in saying Street Profits against DIY. That is going to be, am I right in saying the number one contender thing? So the winners go on to face Bloodline. So I think it makes sense because Bloodline are heels. You definitely want a face team. So doing face versus face, I think is really interesting because I don't know which team wins. Normally I would look at that and say, well, the face team are going to win. The face team are going to win because they are obviously going to go forwards to face the Bloodline. We won't do heel versus heel. So having two face teams means it really could go either way, which I think is going to make for a more exciting match. Where did we get up to? Yes, then we've got Roman's, Love Roman's SmackDown return. Thought we would get the Wise Man or Jimmy this week. Can't wait for KO versus Cody at Bash in Berlin. KO against Grayson Waller next week. I think SmackDown will be Fyre from now on. Did you see that Heyman was backstage at SummerSlam, I think it was? So he was there, but we never used him. He never came out, which is a bit strange, to be honest. I saw an image, which is going to be an unseen later, which showed that he was backstage. Very bizarre. WWE Guy 85 said SmackDown was good tonight. Roman Reigns' return has made SmackDown better. Bloodline's Civil War story is gonna be cinema. Travis said SmackDown was good. And Vincent said great. Of course, looking forward to Chelsea Green, Tiffany Stratton feud. That's a weird feud, that, isn't it? Heel against heel, but I don't know, it could be fun. I don't quite know where we're going with it. I don't know if Chelsea is going to want Tiffany to put that briefcase on the line or something, but I don't know. I can't quite figure out where we're going. Tag match? Piper and Chelsea against Nia and Tiffany? It's just weird. Who you meant to root for? A crowd will be with Tiffy time, I would imagine. But people do like Chelsea as well. Alex said 10 out of 10 SmackDown. Roman taking out the Bloodline all by himself is great. DIY Street Profits winning are good. But everyone's talking about Liv Dom more than what happened on SmackDown. Love the videos. Alex, shout out to you. Aaron said solid-ish. Thought it might be stronger with Roman in the show, but honestly, it didn't deliver for me enough as it should have. Do love the content and keep it up. Aaron, shout out to you, my friend. Lucas said Roman needs to make Solo look good and get some good offense in against him to make Solo look like a threat for the future. I agree with that. LA needs to bring back the US Open Challenge to bring some prestige back. I agree with that. WWE needs to book more lower card women's matches to build up challengers for Nia. I agree with that. Lucas, please join WWE Creative. Ben says, pretty boring. I only wanted to see Roman Reigns' Bloodline and Cody story. Everything else seemed to drag. Carl said it was average at best. Saved by Roman Reigns at the end. Andrade's killing it. I agree. Match of the show yet again. I agree. Another show without the women's champ. We went from Nia up next to Nia next week. Bailey was booked poop too. Is that what it was? Did they say Nia up next and then they changed it to Nia next week? We must have run out of time then if that was the situation. The Nia thing I'm still pretty confused about. Mr. Perfect chance to have the Usos when Roman was getting beaten up, says Carl. Oh, I don't know about that, to be honest, because I think you need that segment where Jimmy reaches out to Jay. I think you need to see that moment where Jimmy and Jay get back onto the same page. I think if Jimmy and Jay were to just run down together, there'd be a lot of questions of when did that happen? And so I don't know. I don't know that you could have done that. Ron said, it is good tag team segment with Pretty Deadly. It was good. But like the Bloodline, how can you take them seriously? Solo running like a scared cat in a room full of rocking chairs. It's funny, but the show was good, says Ron. Yeah, I agree. It didn't make them look very good, did it? Didn't make Solo look good as he was scarpering away. Johnny said, I'm not liking how WWE is booking Cody with very predictable title defenses. Solo lost all the believability as a threat he built up over the past months once he came face to face with the OTC. Needs Rock or Jacob ASAP. LA Night Pop and OTC chants were amazing, but the rest of the show was... Corb said it was too short. SmackDown needs to be 3 hours. I don't know. They can't even book 2 hours of really good stuff. I think if we were sat here and we were like, oh my God, that 2 hours was amazing, we need 3 hours, I might agree. But I don't know, man. We're getting a 2 hour SmackDown and it's nowhere near as good as Raw. KO versus Cody is boring. Andrade not beating Santos is another L. Grayson and Theory are best friends again. When was they meant to be teasing a breakup? Women get 3 minutes, and Roman did the same thing he basically did at SummerSlam, says Corp. Yep. Sinan said, oh, SmackDown was okay. Roman versus Temu Bloodline was great. You know, I've never been on Temu. Don't know what it looks like. Don't know what they sell. Don't know how reliable they are. Don't even know if it's available in the UK. I believe it to be like a Wish type thing, but I've never been on. LA Knight's new theme is pretty good. Rest of the show was, said Sinan. James said it was better than usual. Matches were all decent except Jade versus Alba. That match just wasn't interesting. Roman ending the show was great. Just what we needed after weeks of Temu Bloodline taking over the show. Chanel said, woo, you got it right this time. Raw, lol. SmackDown for the first time in a while was actually good. Buzzing for what's to come with Roman. And it looks like they may be turning Tiffy into a face. Only criticism I have is FFS, WWE, push pretty deadly. Penfold said best part was the Andrex advert on TNT Sport. Pro Wrestling News. Hello, Daze. Hello, Pro Wrestling News. I think SmackDown was good. All matches and segments were decent. Ending was amazing with Roman. I think Jacob's injury is part of a storyline. When will Jimmy and Paul Heyman return? Don't know. Well, Heyman was backstage, wasn't he? At SummerSlam, as we said earlier. So I genuinely don't know. Cody versus Kevin will be interesting, and I'm interested to see if Kevin's promos afterwards. I think chances of him turning heel are more because he was not happy about that WWE Championship. What a weird reason to turn heel, because he got given a WWE Championship match. How can he deliver a promo without turning heel? He can't change from the I don't want the match to I will beat you. Do you think Kevin turns on Cody? I don't think he turns. I think he is going to say, I didn't want this, because not only did I not feel like I didn't deserve it, but I'm the prize fighter. I'm you know, I should have had this championship a long time ago. If it wasn't for the bloodline, I may have that championship now. And I really like you, Cody, but if you're going to put me in that situation where we're going to fight, I'm telling you now, it's not going to be pretty. And I think you can kind of go with that angle of him saying, not only did I not feel like I deserved it, but I'm worried about what I'm going to have to do to you to get that from you. Like, our relationship might never be the same again. And I think you could go down that road rather than turning him heel. Him being more like, I'm an animal, I'm a savage. This is going to have been, you're going to realize this was a bad idea, you know? And I think you kind of maybe go with an angle like that to build it up. I actually don't mind if they do turn him heel, but I suppose my point is I don't think they have to turn him heel. I think you can kind of go with that vibe instead. Have them beat the holy hell out of each other and then embrace afterwards. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. That might be a fun opinions video as to how people would book that. Chalky White said it was a very average show. The whole Cody KO angle is bizarre. Roman, great as always, though. Sterwin said, I was in the crowd last night. Well, the crowd were great, mate. So you really contributed to a really, really hot crowd. The Roman pop might have been the loudest thing I've ever been a part of. It was a special moment. Rest of the show was great too. 2 surprises from the arena. Corbin and Apollo are over with the live crowds. And Legado can really pull heat. So, wow, that's amazing to actually hear from Sterwin, who was actually there and sharing some of these images as well. So, hope you had a great time, my friends. Crowd came across. Fantastic. Uncle Revel said, I already don't like face KO. It's even worse now, him being humble about accepting a title match with Cody. The show was okay, but it still feels like I'm watching the same thing over and over again with small tweaks. Give us Pretty Deadly, the musical, already. Talal said it was underwhelming for most parts, except LA Knight segment and Roman in the end. Also, what's taken so long with Theory and Austin? I don't know, man. I don't know. I can only imagine they just don't want to do the match at Bash in Berlin. That's all I can think as to why they're dragging it out. They didn't have any room on the SummerSlam card, and they don't want to do it in Germany. So are we waiting for Bad Blood? And it's something like that. Theory needs to turn face soon. It's getting uninteresting and boring. 6, says Talal. Watson said, I'm expecting Roman to have backup, so I guess Jimmy will be back. And as Randy went to Raw, what if they did a trade for Jay? And when Jacob comes back to the bloodline, that opens up the door for Sammy to make it even. Can't wait to see what happens. We're in a good place, says Watson. MVR NDS says, not bad, not good. Bykors said, another enjoyable show that WWE are cooking now. And the final segment with Roman destroying the bloodline was goated. Roman's aura is on another level to anyone else. Both brands are flying currently. Right, here we have got Left to Live. It was all right. Roman stole the show yet again. Cody KO should be fun. Santos becoming the #1 contender for the US title was a bit odd in my vision, but I'm sure Santos and LA will have a decent match. Pumped for Street Profits against DIY. I am as well. And where was Nia? Yeah, I mean, I think they sort of teased that she was going to be on the show, and then they changed that she wasn't, so that's what I think has happened, but very strange. Word of Wrestling said, let's try this again. 6.5 overall. Too many breaks in between matches, and during Andrade shines again. Shame he lost. Expected Roman to say acknowledge me, but now I want it even more. Where was Nia? We want Jacob. Nothing special in the end. Could have been better. Over the Top Media said show had a great flow, lots of storyline progression. Cody Kevin is interesting. I have to believe it'll lead to a KO turn. Have to acknowledge the OTC Roman Reigns. And we should no quoted tweets. That is it. I honestly think this show for me is like 5.75 to 6. I was not bored, so I wouldn't go really much lower than that. I thought it was solid, but really there was not much here that I would personally be looking to go back to. I didn't get much out of the tag matches personally. DIY against Pretty Deadly just didn't do it for me. A-Town Down Under Street Profits was a bit better, but still a match that you could have just told me the result and I would have been fine with just finding out that way. Jade, Alba was quite short. Didn't need to see it, to be honest. Santos, Andrade, and I would say the moment where Cody says to Kevin he wants him to get the title shot. Santos against Andrade and Roman are the three things I would say that were worth watching. Outside of that, I think you could have skipped this episode. But, you know, it is what it is. I think that SmackDown has kind of been in this position for a little while now. We were hoping Roman coming back was going to, like, drastically change things. I don't think it did, personally. And it seems like a bit of a mixed bag from you guys as to whether you think it did or didn't. So, I don't know. We can build from here. That's what I would say. I feel like we've definitely got... We know Roman's on the show next week, so we've definitely got him next week. So, I feel like we can bring Jimmy back. We can bring Heyman on the show. Like, there are big moments that we can... You know, the promo between Kevin and Cody, that should be really fun. And Nia back next week. We're going to see who steps up to her. Yeah, I definitely think that we can build from here. I suppose it's exciting in that regards. I definitely feel like the future is looking a bit brighter than it was before. So I'll take the positives and say that this is like a 5-7, 5-6 for me. But there we go. That was this week's SmackDown. And obviously we move on. Raw should be amazing on Monday. Rhea, I believe, is opening the show. And plenty of stuff going on over there for us to get our teeth into. So appreciate the support as always. Hope you enjoyed this video. And I will see you again next time. Bye for now.